Hello, welcome back to the Fruit of Grisaia. There's no gym teacher in this school, but that hasn't stopped some shameless individual from putting physical education on our schedule. A healthy spirit dwells in a healthy body. It's easy to laugh these words off as a relic of the baby boomer generation's Neanderthal obsession with building character through guts and willpower, but in fact, it seems there actually is a good amount of scientific data linking moderate physical exercise to positive psychotropic effects. Personally, having been brought up with the simplistic lesson that basic physical strength decides things in the end, I don't have any objection to moving my body. That said, Amane's pointlessly powerful voice resounds across the field. In response, there's a vaguely apathetic chorus of, "Yeah," from her classmates. An unenthusiastic, "Yeah," from the transparently disinterested material. A dopey, "Yes," from Machina, unintentionally draining any shred of motivation from all who hear it. A vigorous "yeah" from Sachi, who's taking everything seriously as always, but her voice cracks shrilly at the clearly unfamiliar exercise. And finally, stony silence from Sakaki, who's sulking like a prideful middle schooler forced to participate in a children's athletic meet. The only one of the bunch with any real energy would be Amane, thrusting her fist toward the heavens from her position on the mound. As for me, without the beginning of a clue as to what's about to take place here, I'm staring absent-mindedly up at the sky. And how are you doing today, everybody? Hey, Amane. Why are you so ridiculously fired up?
うちの子たちってなんでかみんなインドア派っていうか体を動かすのが嫌いな子が多くてね。こうしてから元気でテンション上げていかないとなかなかやる気出さないのよ。
Well, it seems like we've got someone exploding with the weird sort of drill sergeant energy, at least.
ちょっと待っててね。マキナ、ちょっとこっちおいで。
When he sees smacking his head from above like a basketball and forcibly carries her off into the shadows. I guess that was Makina's idea of motivation.
元気なのはいいけど言葉遣い気をつけようねっていつも言ってるよね。わかりましたか。痛いってたまね。痛いってば割れちゃうの。そんなにしたらマキナ壊れちゃうのよさ。だからラメって言っちゃダメだぞ。
Amane's voice somehow manages to be both sickly sweet and ice cold. It's enough to send shivers down my spine. Makina's bitter, heart-rending screams don't help either. I think Amane is trying to maintain a relatively kind tone of voice, but she's actually more frightening as a result. It crosses my mind that this could very well be described as bullying. But considering the current climate of hypersensitivity towards such matters, I'll refrain from voicing any hasty conclusions.
どうでもいいけど、やるならさっさと始めましょうよ。時間なくなるわよ。
That's fine by me, but what exactly is it that we're doing?
いつものスポーツでしょ。バカバカしい。どうして私がこんなことに付き合わなければいけないのかしら。
Sports? I was hoping for more specific details, but playing sports in gym class hardly seems ridiculous, more completely commonplace.
それは私からご説明しましょう。
Before that, I've got an unrelated question, if that's alright.
はい、どうぞ。
Why are you the only one in a maid uniform?
はい。
Don't give me that totally nonplussed look. For a second, you almost convinced me that I'm the strange one here.
この服ですか？よくご覧になれば一目瞭然かと存じますが、ご覧の通り、これは体操用のメイド服で。
A maid uniform specialized for physical exercise. So what is it, like tight or something? Sorry, let's move on. Shouldn't have asked. My mistake. The strangest thing here wasn't her clothes. It was me expecting anything resembling common sense from a student at this school. Okay, so what exactly does sports involve here?
ですね。なんと言いますか、種目の名前はないんですよ。キックベースのような、サッカーのような、ソフトボールのような、ドッジボールのような、それらすべての要素を加味した新ジャンルとでも言いますか。
What kind of extreme sport is this? All I got out of your description is that there's probably a ball involved.
はい、使用するのはバレーのボールです。
Sassy hands me a large round ball she'd been holding on to.
このボールをあそこのピッチャーマウンドから投げまして、バッターボックスに立った打者が手にしたバットでそれを打ちます。
They hit a volleyball with a bat?
はい、打球が内野に転がったら打者は一塁へ向かって走ります。守備側は打球をキャッチして走者に向かって思いっきりボールを投げつけます。それが走者に当たったらアウトです。3アウトでチェンジです。
What if someone catches the ball on the fly?
それもアウトです。その辺は野球に近いかもしれないですね。
When and why did this strange game come into fashion?
別に流行ってるわけじゃないわよ。ただうちの学校って今まで学生が5人しかいなかったから、何をやるにしても人数が足りなかったのよ。それにソフトボールをやりたいとかドッジボールがいいとかいろいろと意見が分かれまして。
So you ended up just doing them all at once. Was this your doing, Sakaki?
そうやって何でもかんでも私のせいにしないでほしいわね。もう確かに言い出したのは私だけれど。
Then don't complain when I blame you.
いつまで経っても意見の一致が見られないから、だったら全部やればいいと言っただけよ。別に全てをいっぺんにやれと言った覚えはないわ。それよりもルールが理解できたのならさっさと始めてほしいのだけど。
What about Amane and Makina?
いるわよ、ここに。引っこ抜けっかと思ったのよさ。
What exactly?
旅とか魂とか。
Amane.
よ、教育でしょ。この子ってば注意してあげないとどんどん汚い言葉を覚えてバンバン使いたがるんだから。
Are you her mother or what? And so, after 15 minutes of wasted time, with Amane's second shout of, "Alright, let's do this!" our bewildering match of Mystery Extreme Sports begins. Through the impartial results of rock, paper, scissors matches, the teams are divided as follows. Bear team, pitcher, Amane, catcher, Sakaki Yumiko, fielder, Irisu Makina. Rabbit team, pitcher, Kazami Yuuji, catcher, Komine Sachi, fielder, Matsushima Michiru. Our rabbit team ends up being first to bat. The leadoff batter dons a softball helmet, grabs a colorful metal bat, and takes her place in the batter's box. With a grating, high-pitched shout, Michiru thrusts her bat out to point at the pitcher's mount, where Amane is settling into her stance with the volleyball in hand. What's this? Considering how apathetic she was, Michiru's gotten surprisingly into it now that the game started. I see, but I'm willing to bet she's also the first one to get bored. Unaware of the critical analysis she's receiving from her teammates, Michiru takes a few vigorous practice swings, then glares up at Amane. Watching Michiru stamp her feet in frustration in the batter's box, I whisper to Sachi, who's sitting next to me on the bench. So, what happened last time? Disgrace tends to be something you want to repay, not regain. I guess the words are kind of similar. Michiru must have gotten all excited and shouted out a garbled sentence before she even knew what she was saying. Just a thought here. Might Michiru be something of an idiot? Yeah, sorry, didn't intend to distract you. We'll keep quiet, so please regain as much disgrace as you like. As Michiru screeches like a drugged monkey and brandishes her bat overhead, Amane's first pitch sails over the plate. Receiving the return throw from Sakaki, Amane carefully finds her foothold on the pitcher's mound, a fierce smile on her face. With that intense shout, Michiru takes firm hold of her bat and fixedly watches Amane's pitching motion. Looking closely, Michiru's got the position of her hands on the bat reversed, but if I mention that now, I get the feeling her only response would be another, "Shut it!" Guess I'll just watch over her gallant battle with silent respect. Amane twists her long limbs into a sidearm motion, and the volleyball soars toward the squatting Sakaki's hands at an ideal velocity and angle. With an explosion of energy, Michiru swings her bat at full force, but tragically, she cuts through empty air a good 10 centimeters above the top of the ball, her blonde twin tails swinging aimlessly behind her. Michiru slams her bat on home plate in a towering rage.
あと1球よ、にちゃんって言うな。子供扱いしないでよ。次こそ打つ。この日のために編み出した伝説の打法が。
Hey, Michiru.
何よ。
You've got your hands wrong. You're batting right, so your right hand should be on top. You've got it backward. You're obviously clueless. Hold it with your right fist higher on the bat, your left fist below.
そういうことはもっと早く言いなさいよ。なんなのよもう。ねえ、続けていいの？いいわよ。いつでも来なさいよ。もう少し待ちなさいよ。どっちなの？来い！
As Michiru bares her fighting spirit, Amane's face briefly suggests a dubious, "Are you sure about that?" But she's not the type to think too hard about this sort of thing. Her expression soon gives way to a smirking grin. Forcefully swinging the ball up in her right hand, Amane takes a step forward on the mound, throwing the movement of her entire body into the pitch. The ball flies out of Amane's hand, whistling through the air directly at its target, which is Michiru. Michiru, anticipating the beanball, pulls back a half a step with her pivot leg and swings her bat in a wide arc. Michiru's vigorous stroke of the bat catches the ball beautifully in the sweet spot, sending it flying back toward Amane on the mound. Well, that's what she screamed, so I'd assume so. Exactly where and how this thing became a legend is a question for another day. The ball rushes straight back toward Amane, who's still in an awkward position for releasing her pitch. That thing's going to hit her! Or so I thought for a split second. Amane nimbly recovers and takes a firm stance as the ball approaches her. Turning to the side, she swings back with her left elbow and unleashes a firm right-handed fist stab in model karate form. With a resounding thud, the ball is sent flying back toward where Michiru stands in the batter's box. Cheer fires it right back.
無駄もだーピッチャー返し返し返し返しおーピッチャー返し返し返し返し返しのーりゃーピッチャー返し返し返し返し返し返し
Right off the bat, and we already find ourselves in a deadlock, or rather, what the heck is with this development? I'm sort of reminded of those martial arts masters where both fighters run into the center of the ring at the first gong, stop dead, and then just start bashing away at each other. But where do things go from here? Are they planning to repeat pitcher paybacks until they just run out of steam? I can't read the next move. A strange game. There's no apparent path to victory for either side. Hey, Sachi.
なんでしょう
What exactly is a pitcher pack?
さあおそらくですけどマキちゃんは舌が短いのでピッチャー返しと言おうとしてセリフを噛んだだけかと
I see.
ピッチャー返し返し返し返し返し返し返しなんとピッチャー返し返し返し返し返し返し返し返し
Sparks continue to fly as the battle to the death between mound and batter's box continues along its repetitive course. But, I mean, what exactly are they getting all worked up over? It's too darn hot for this. But I suppose women have their own battles that must be fought to the bitter end. This is clearly a contest between two truly indomitable spirits. By the way, Sachi,
はいなんでしょう
just how long is this futile exchange going to continue?
さあおそらくはどちらかが諦めるか飽きるかするまでだと思いますけど
Truly a thrilling, edge-of-your-seat battle of the wills. Mind if I use this opportunity to go buy a drink?
私が買ってきましょうか
No, I think I'll get it myself this time. At my word, Sachi skewers me with a searching glare.
まさか榊さんみたいにジュースを買いに行くって言ってそのまま帰ってこないつもりじゃないですよねダメですよ
As the thought, she saw through me, runs through my head, I make eye contact with Sakaki, who's still crouched behind the plate.
何なのこっちを見ないでくれる
So there was a previous offender, eh?
うるさいわねそんなの時間の浪費だもん
Well, can't argue with that. So we resign ourselves to watch over their battle to the end, with the calm gazes of the elderly watching their overly energetic grandchildren skip rope with all their might. But just as I'm beginning to think that this fiery clash of pride between Michiru and Amane would truly never end, the conclusion arrives in an unexpected form.
ピッチャー返し返し返し返し返し返し返し返し返し返し返し返し返し返しピッチャー返し返し返し返し
Oh, hey, Sachi, that did not sound good.
なんでしょう
What does "gah" just now signify?
さあおそらくですけれど天音さんが足を滑らせて
Ow.
足首をくじいた音ではないでしょうか
Oh, I see. Wait, should that be my reaction here? So, isn't that kind of bad?
やばいですか？
Sachi stares blankly back at me for a moment. After a beat, her eyes widen and her mouth springs open.
やばいですよ。
As we hurriedly jump off the bench, Makina is already rushing up to Amane, who's currently writhing on the mound.
死ぬ。いたたたた。
Although it might look like a slapstick comedy scene if you squint, the atmosphere is actually pretty tense, until a burst out of place laughter breaks it.
それ見たことか。
Machiro points toward the mound with her right hand, her left hand resting on her hip, her proud face the image of women triumphant.
この私にこの私に勝負を挑もうなんて10年早いわよ。
Should you really be striking a victory pose right now? You're completely burned out yourself.
うさよね。この程度なんてこと。ダメ。ごめんクラクラする。サチ酸素持ってきて。
Her faint voice abruptly filling her altogether, Machira's body begins to shake violently. She collapses to her knees on the spot with a thump.
倒れたよ。チルチルも死んだよ。オーマイガー。なんでどうして私の好きになる人はみんな死んじゃうのよ。死んでないから。ちょっと立ちくらみが。
Machiro scatters sparkling vomit onto the ground with a sickening gurgle. Would this be the so-called double KO? So, Sachi, in this case, can we declare the one who stands up inside the 10 count the winner?
いえ、もうそういった場合じゃないと思います。すみません、風見さん。私はみちる様の様子を見ますので、あまねさんの方お願いできますか？
Roger.
閉じた。あまね、大丈夫？今なんかグキって曲がっちゃいけない方に足が曲がってたよね。
Probably shouldn't try to stand. If the bone's broken, the pressure might make it break the skin.
怖いこと言わないでよ。
Look, just stay put. Let me see your foot. Amane, supported by her hands, slowly shifts to a sitting position on the mound. I take her right leg in my hand and lift it up to take a look. It's not any worse than I'd expected. Fortunately, there doesn't seem to be a fracture, but there is red swelling beginning around the joint. Doesn't seem to be broken, but a sprain? Well, if we're unlucky, it might be a partial fracture.
捻挫か。久しぶり。私さ、身長の割に足のサイズが小さいから昔からよく転ぶのよね。
Either way, it's the infirmary for you. Can you stand?
なんとか。
Don't put weight on your right foot. Just get yourself onto my back. Don't give me that. It's not so bad right now because you're pumped full of adrenaline from the shock, but if you overdo it, you'll be crying later. Hurry up and get on. 優しい。ど
どうしたの急に。
I'm not going to play along with your jokes right now. You're hurt. Stop wasting time and do what I tell you.
あ、
Amane softly leans her body against my back and grabs the shoulders of my gym uniform somewhat hesitantly. You need a better grip than that. Wrap your arms around. Get a hold on my neck.
分かったわよ。こう？
As instructed, Amane wraps her arms around my neck, pushing her breast firmly against my back. Normally I'd be throwing out a joke or two at this point, but this isn't the time. She might actually be hurt. I want to help her. Sachi, I'm taking her to the infirmary. How's Machiro?
あ、はい。みちる様は今酸素吸入中です。5分程度で回復すると思われます。
Machiro lies flat on the ground, limp as a beach tuna. Sachi's holding a portable can of oxygen to her mouth as we speak. I'm leaving command of the field to you. Adjust your tactics as the situation demands. Can you handle it, class representative?
はい。小峰幸いただきます。
For some reason, maybe instinctively reacting to my tone, Sachi raises a hand and salute toward me. Alright, here we go, Amane.
ごめん。
Not a problem. This isn't something you need to apologize for. I thought about that response, but ultimately decided against it. The wounded tend to grow timid toward those around them. Better to avoid wording that might make her think of herself as baggage burdening others. Don't want to increase her anxiety. I keep up a flow of communication, standard procedure to ensure the wounded doesn't faint out of pain. Where's the infirmary, Amane? Do you know?
その先を右。突き当たりまで行ったら左に行くと保健室があるよ。
We'll be there soon. Try to endure it for the moment.
大げさだな。たかが捻挫だよ。
Don't make light of leg injuries. Soldiers get abandoned when they can't walk.
へえって。いや、まあ、そっか。そうだよね。怪我した子から死んでいくんだよね。
Don't worry, Japan won't desert you, and I won't leave you to die either.
ごめんね。私、重いでしょ。
Not particularly. 5 packs of rice or so at most.
ちょっと、なんで私の体重知ってるのよ。
I'm used to carrying around heavy luggage on my back. I can estimate weight from the feeling on my shoulders.
あのさ、おぶってもらっておいてこんなこと言うのもあれなんだけど、この場合ね、普通は全然重くないよとかさ、なんかこう女の子に対して気を使ったりするもんなんじゃないのかな。
You're lighter than I expected. Probably only looked heavy from your height and that oversized chest. You've got long legs, too. That must have thrown me off.
足が長いって褒めてくれてるのは嬉しいけど、なんか複雑。ちなみに私の体重ってどれぐらいだと予想してた？
You weigh however much you weigh, it is what it is. My impression was that you'd be comfortably above 60 kilos.
そういうことを言わないの。
As she speaks, Amane sharply tightens her arms into a choke holder on my neck. Look, stop thrashing around. You'll be the one crying if I drop you. I come to a brief halt on the spot and lift Amane's body, which had been sliding down my back, up more firmly around my shoulders.
そっか、今ならユージ君、両手が塞がってるよね。
What are you planning, woman? The next moment, Amane gently closes her eyes, still clinging tightly to my neck. She brings her lips close. Hey! I take an immediate evasive action in response to her suspicious movements, but Amane's lips nonetheless press against my cheek. What the heck is wrong with this woman? I've got half a mind to drop her on the hallway floor, but we are dealing with an injured party here. I turn my head to the side to stare into Amane's face, finding her blushing in apparent embarrassment. I thought I met her for the first time at this school, but maybe...
何よ、人の顔じっと見て。
It's nothing. No matter how long or how carefully I study Amane's features, nothing comes to mind. I was entertaining the possibility she might have been some childhood friend I parted from in tears, or what have you, but I'm pretty well convinced that isn't the case. Which would leave... Do I look like the lover you were tragically separated from in your previous incarnation? Is that it?
何それ、人を電波扱いしないでよ。っていうか、この学園でそういうこと言わないの。シャレにならないから。
Pouting her lips, Amane knocks a fist against my head with a solid thunk. What are you anyway?
Amane.
Yes, my short-term memory is perfectly fine, thanks. Every time Amane speaks, her soft breath strikes my ear. Is it just my imagination, or has her body temperature slowly been rising while I've had her on my back? If she suffered a partial fracture on that ankle, it might be that her body is beginning to generate a fever. Better get a move on. Again, lifting Amane further up on my back, I hurry to the infirmary. Doc, emergency case. Get a move on. Still carrying Amane, I push my way forcefully into the room and shout for attention, but there's no one here whatsoever, much less a doctor. Why isn't anyone here? Everyone take a break at once.
うちには保健の先生っていないのよ。とりあえずベッドの上で下ろして、あとは自分でやるから。
There's no doctor? You mean they haven't hired anyone at all to staff this room?
そういうこと。
For the time being, I lower Amane onto a nearby bed.
保健の先生が来るって話は前からあるんだけど、なかなかいい人が見つからないみたいでね。薬とかは業者の人が来てたまに入れ替えてるみたいなんだけど。
Well, fine. I'll take care of the treatment.
できるの？
I learned first aid at my previous school. I can handle something like this at least. I kneel in front of Amane's leg, untie and remove her athletic shoe, and then take her red, swollen right ankle in my hand. I'm going to move it. Tell me if it hurts. Her ankle's slender, but compared to her uninjured left foot, it's clearly inflamed pretty badly. I bend Amane's ankle to various angles, carefully searching for the location of her injury. It's not fractured after all, but I think the ligament might have been stretched or the joint capsule ruptured. Taking a roll of medical tape from the infirmary's first aid kit, I loosely wrap it around Amane's ankle, restricting the range the joint can move. Then retrieve ice from the freezer, stuff it into a bag, and press it over the injury through a towel, relieving the heat of the inflammation.
ありがとう。
Oh.
ずいぶん楽になったわ。手慣れてるのね。
Good job, Yuuji. Well, just a bit. I'm accustomed to treating sprains and burns, at least. When I was a kid, I was getting hit pretty much every day, and I still get my fair share of injuries even now.
やっぱり優しいね。ユージ君。
Spare me. How exactly am I a nice guy? I just treated an injury. Anyone would do that much.
そうやって冷たい態度を取るのは、私に優しいやつだって勘違いされると、甘えられて鬱陶しいから。
To be honest, Amane's words are pretty close to the bullseye. When human beings find kindness, they naturally take advantage of it. Before they realize it, they've grown dependent on that kindness. They lose their ability to function without it. If I disappeared, what would you do with yourself? My master spoke those words to me when I was still a child.
正直ね、保健室に着いた時点で、じゃあ俺は行くからって言われるのを覚悟してたんだけど。ユージ君、何も言わずに治療してくれたじゃない？驚いちゃった。
Alright then, I'll be going. As I raise my right hand in farewell, Amane grasps my clothes firmly to prevent my retreat.
ちょっと、怪我をしてナーバスになっている女の子を一人にする気？もう少し一緒にいなさい。
Am I the only one who thinks she should be slightly more nervous about being alone with a teenage male in this room? Which has a bed when her leg is injured to the point that she can't walk. What do you want from me? If you have something to say, then spit it out already.
じゃあ、はっきり言うけど。ねえ、私の彼氏になってよ。聞こえなかったかな？もう一度言おうか
？Why are you saying this?
君のことが好きだから。
Since when?
初めて会った時からずっと一目惚れってやつかな。なんか冷たい反応。私の言ってることを信じてないでしょ。
Then let me ask, what part of me did you fall in love with?
そうね。なんかダメ男っぽいところ。私さ、こいつ私がいなかったらどうやって生きていくんだろうみたいな、そういう男に弱いみたい。
I see. Can't say I have a problem with reliable women myself.
あ、マジで？それって好都合じゃない？どうする？じゃあ付き合っちゃおうか。
Yes, please. What does this girl think she's grinning about? Momentarily speechless with amusement, I hold my right palm to my forehead and run it up through my hair. Look, is teasing me that much fun?
そういう言われ方は心外なんだけど、じゃあさ、彼氏がダメならお姉ちゃんになってあげる。
What?
優しくて綺麗なお姉さん欲しくない？
I agree to inform you that we're not hiring big sisters at the present time.
いつ募集するの？
We anticipate no vacancies until doomsday.
なんだよそれ。
That's my line, idiot. Shifting my grip on the ice pack, I could give Amane a slap on the ankle. Let's see, if you make it a yes or no question, then yes, I think I'd be safely on the enjoys bullying girls side.
サディストか。でも大丈夫。私ってこう見えてもド M だから。
Just what do you want from me exactly?
ねえ、どうしてもダメなの？なんか女としての自信なくすな。
I'm not trying to reject you, but don't you think you're rushing things here?
時期尚早という言葉を使う人はきっと10年経っても同じことを言うよね。
We're not talking about politics here.
だから彼女は諦めてお姉ちゃんになるって言ってるじゃないね。
Starting off by asking for the sky, then dragging out concessions as a compromise in the negotiations, you really do think you're a politician.
そろそろ私も傷つくぞ。
I drop my shoulders in an exaggerated gesture and heave a heavy sigh. I'm sure this girl intends to continue this aggressive pursuit until I tell her what she wants to hear. It would be a serious pain if she tried to push me any harder than this. As a point of compromise, this is probably right at the limit of my tolerance. Yeah, I got it. If you want to play the big sister that badly, I'll go along with it. If there was a mirror in front of me as I speak these words, I'd be staring into the face of a man with the word reluctant stamped on his forehead. Might this have been a hasty decision? Indifferent to my shame and regret, Amane beams happily. She's really persistent on wanting to date him, and drops her hand on top of my head with a gentle thump in grand big sister style. I think he should just do it.
ならばよろしい。これからはお姉ちゃんって呼ぶんだぞ。
Don't think this means you can pet my head whenever you feel like it. Although I don't go so far as to push Amane's hand away, I can't say this is an especially pleasant feeling. Dutiful and clever dogs, as a rule, don't wag their tails when someone other than their master pats their head. I prefer eating my meals alone. It's just easier that way. For one thing, I don't have to go through the hassle of pretending to enjoy what I'm eating. In the first place, there's no cafeteria or lunch counter in this school. The facilities themselves apparently exist, but after all, you can count the number of students and permanent staff here on the fingers of your hands. Spending the money to run a lunchroom for the benefit of that small a number of people would be completely inefficient any way you look at it. So then, you might ask, how does lunch work at this place? It's a pretty simple system. When we arrive at the classroom in the morning, we can write our names in a notebook on the podium. Every lunch period, a supplier delivers food to everyone who's signed up. Box lunch catering, as they call it. Of course, it's completely up to every individual student whether we take advantage of the catering. Because the menu is basically left up to the supplier, it's possible to sign up only when they're offering something you want. Personally, I haven't asked for delivery even once. It's not that I'm worried about saving money, or that I can't trust food made by others. I don't have any religious principles against eating meat either. I'm just not interested enough in what I eat to bother. They say it's a common result of being raised in a food-poor environment, and considering the time I spent living together with my master and her crappy cooking, I guess it's only natural. A full stomach and adequate nutrition is really all I need. Incidentally, the lunch I prepared for myself today is 3 plain salt rice balls. My side dish was also a quick job. After frying onions and garlic, I threw them together to cook with some canned tomatoes and kidney beans, adding a packet of chili powder for seasoning. As my master used to say, humans ain't that fragile. You won't starve as long as you've got the beans to eat. But I guess going with nothing but the basics is a bit too bleak for me. No point in living like a monk, so I've also brought an apple for dessert. Kind of feels like I'm eating nothing but red stuff, but there's no point in worrying about a meal's appearance. This is perfectly adequate for my needs.
Oi! Yuuji!
So now she's dropped honorific.
Nani?
Don't just call me Yuuji, woman.
だって私、お姉ちゃんになったんだし、弟にくんづけって変じゃない？
I don't remember giving you permission to not use one.
禁止された覚えもないけど。
Okay, it's now forbidden.
まあ、なんて横暴なのかしら。なら、私も交換条件出すわよ。
What do you want?
私のこと、お姉ちゃんって呼んだら呼び捨てにするのやめてあげる。どうする？ゆうちゃん。
Spare me. Not even my parents ever called me that.
いいからほれ、呼んでみ。お姉ちゃんって。
Ridiculous.
なんだよその態度。だったら私も呼び捨てやめないぞ。
Do whatever you want.
そうするよ、ユージ。
And you need something?
いや、なんか地味に一人でご飯食べてるからさ。ね、一緒に食べない？
No, I'll pass. Take your volunteer work to Makina. Why don't you?
もちろんマキナも一緒だよ。マキナ。呼んだか？呼んだけどさ、 その言葉遣いはどうだろう。
お兄ちゃんもお弁当何食べてるのよさ。
聞いちゃいねえし。
おにぎりとリンゴとこの赤いのは何？
Baked beans.
なんか美味しそうね。それ
Want to try some?
もうそうやって何でも人が食べてるものを欲しがらないの。まるで普段うちで何も食べさせてないみたいじゃないの。
おみー、あまね、パンちょうだい。これ絶対パンと合う。
聞きなさいよ、人の話。おじゃないわよ。っていうかあんたもマキナに何食べさせたのよ。
Like I said, beans. She just had a mouthful, hardly a big deal.
豆って、うわ、何？その40代の独身サラリーマンみたいに質素なお弁当。
Beans are nutritious, there's no problem.
結構美味しいのよ。
どれどれ？
Hey, you, don't just start eating my food.
確かに美味しいけど、これって缶詰だよね。
Well, the beans into the tomatoes, yeah.
私、缶詰も大好きなのよさ。
Look, stop eating it already. This is all I've got.
缶詰といえば、昔から不思議に思ってることがあるのよさ。みかんの缶詰ってどうやってあんなに綺麗に皮を剥いてるの？
They don't. They melt the skin off with acid and alkali.
マジで？なんか体に悪そう。
Don't worry, the chemicals are neutralized and they wash the fruit with water after. It's perfectly safe.
だったら安心なのよさ。
Hey, you! The girl's already halfway through my lunch.
ごめん。お詫びにさ、私たちのお弁当を分けてあげるから。ね。
It's fine. Don't worry about it. I'm not desperate enough to start stealing other people's food.
まあまあ、いっぱいあるんだから遠慮しないでいいのよ。ほら、じゃーんと。
With that exclamation, Amane brings out a huge wrapped lunch. Looks like she's actually got a number of boxes stacked on top of each other.
ほら見てごらんなさい。これが食の彩りというものよ。
Opening the lid, she reveals a box packed with a rich variety of vividly colored side dishes, practically indistinguishable from a delivery lunch from some well-established restaurant. I see. No wonder the neighborhood calls this place the Money Sink Academy. Pretty luxurious for a school lunch.
これ学校の仕出し弁当じゃないわよ。私の自作。
Seriously?
言ってなかったっけ？私の実家ってね、神田で京料理の料亭やってんだよ。
Kyoto food in a district of Tokyo?
うちとこのお母はんは京都の老舗料亭の娘やし、お父はんは神田の料理人なんよ。
No kidding? So that's where Amani's infrequent lapses into that weird Kansai accent come from. Kansai or Kansai? I don't know. And come to think of it, that short-tempered, vaguely masculine side of her personality makes a lot more sense knowing that her father's from a blue-collar neighborhood like Kanda.
あまねってばすっごいお料理上手なのよ。お肉が嫌いだからあんましお肉料理は作ってくれないけど、でもとっても美味しいのよさ。
You don't eat meat, Amane? Now that he mentions it, I don't see much in the way of meat dishes inside this box. Bit of a surprise. I had you down as a carnivore for sure.
いやー、別にお肉を食べないわけじゃないし、料理もするけど、ほらね、お肉ばっかり食べてこれ以上大きくなってもあれかなーってさ。
What, your breast's getting too heavy?
身長よ。
Oh, well, I guess you can't exactly shed inches the way you can pounds. Of course, cutting back on meat now isn't going to make Amane any less imposingly tall. That said, if she keeps a careful eye on her diet, it might help maintain the status quo. Bit of a reactionary approach, considering she's already pretty darn tall, but I guess that's just your typical passive Japanese mindset at work. As JB once told me, there aren't many Japanese who go to the dentist before their teeth start to hurt. He's calling this girl tall, and she's still shorter than him, so I don't know what he thinks a tall girl is. She's normal height. I'm not a huge fan of meat myself. More importantly, I'll take care of my own food expenses. You don't have to worry about my tastes. Why are you so determined to stick your nose into my eating habits? What? What? I don't get it. In other words, they just want to play house. Or maybe somebody, say the principal, ordered them to become friends with Kazumi-kun for some reason. Anyway, I prefer to maintain some distance. I can't be as casual about this as a normal student might be. I have too many things I like to keep to myself. I'm used to simple food.
いじめられるのには慣れているみたいなのもなんか悲しいじゃん。今までどんな食事をしてきたのよ。
Well, I don't know, nothing special. What now? When I was a young kid, I may not have gotten much in the way of luxury, but I ate normal meals. My current emphasis on low-effort, nutritious food is the product of the way they did things at my previous school. Pardon my French, but at that place, the principle was eat fast, poop fast. In the morning, we were kicked out of bed at 6 a.m. sharp for roll call, exercise, and running. And once all that was done, everyone made double time to the mess hall for breakfast. The way the schedule worked out, we never had more than a few minutes to eat that meal. Anyone who took their time would get a dressing down from one of the seniors, so everybody stuffed whatever food they could grab into their mouth and forced it down their throats as fast as possible. Lunch was slightly different, in that the sheer amount of food they gave us became a challenge. The piles of meat and vegetables would have been hard enough to handle alone, but they throw in a heaping bowl of rice as well. We were expected to cram all that into our stomachs in about 10 minutes, washing it down with miso soup. Naturally, we weren't allowed to leave a scrap of food on our plates. vomit it up and they tell you to push it all back down again. In other words, the taste was not exactly the first thing on our minds. I never enjoyed eating that much in the first place, so once my meals became outright painful, approaching food in a purely business-like fashion felt like the natural response. Okay, nothing but rice and beans for lunch might seem sad to Amane, but I'm not fighting my friends for a can of food, and I've even got fruit as a dessert. By my standards, this is a high-class, elegant meal.
だいたいさ、その食べなきゃいけないから食べるみたいな顔、なんとかならないの？
If my face is putting you off your food, I suggest you don't look at it.
もう可愛くないな。綺麗なお姉さんがお弁当を作ってあげるって言ってるんだから、素直にありがとうって言っておきなさいよ。何よ。
Nothing. Yeah, you're right about this one. Sorry.
え？何？急に素直になったな。気持ち悪い。
Well, can't hurt to play along once in a while. To tell the truth, I had a similar discussion in the past with another pushy woman. Ended up turning into an outright fight. A certain busybody German had this habit of coming to the mountain cabin where I lived with my master, mainly to subject us both to throw nagging sessions. She'd barge in, clean up without even asking permission, make food nobody asked for, and then leave just as quickly. I think the woman must have gotten some sick pleasure out of it. One day in particular, I got pretty indignant when she put away some book I was in the middle of reading. I ended up firing off the line, "You're not my darn mom," with predictably unpleasant results. Well, it wasn't exactly the first time we'd fought, and it's true that I found her constant meddling annoying. So I honestly told her as much. Serious mistake. Yeah. The woman in question, already full-grown adult, spat out the supremely childish words, "Fine, see if I care." And then, of all things, she broke down in tears, leaving me in a complete bewildered panic. Since that disastrous experience, I've learned a lot about how to handle women. The first lesson, knowing when to back down, is crucial. Don't resist a woman's kindness. When a woman gets worked up, words won't get through to her. And the most troublesome lesson of all, women of the busybody type, remember the smallest grudges through all eternity. I'm happy you're willing to make lunch for me, but don't feel like you have to do it every day. I'd appreciate it when you have the time.
Oh, ごめん。さ、別に私、親切の押し売りをするつもりとかじゃなくて、なんていうか。
I know your intentions were good, Amane. I don't have a reason to refuse that would satisfy her. Not one I can bring up here, at least. Anyway, I'm not looking to make the atmosphere in the classroom awkward over something like this. As for Amane, I don't know how she interpreted my sudden change of tune, but she sounds downright contrite about her aggressiveness. We're both being mature about things all of a sudden. Guess the two of us are still capable of being reasonable with each other. Seems like a good sign.
とにかくお弁当にしようよ。私お腹が空いたのよさ。
ってあんたユージのおかず全部食べちゃったじゃないの。
もういつの間に誰だ。
いやお前だろ。
Well, a healthy appetite is a good thing.
そんなこと言ってるとおにぎりもリンゴも全部食べられちゃうわよ。
リンゴはイチゴの次に好きなのよさ。ほほこいつはとっても美味しそうなのよさ。
あんた今朝リンゴ食べてきたでしょうが、意地汚いことしないの。
I don't really mind giving her the apple, but I thought you said Makina didn't have that big of an appetite.
まあなんというか食事のバランスが悪いのよねこの子。食べない時には全然食べないし、食べる時には人の3倍くらい食べちゃうのよ。
Sounds like a bit of an exaggeration. I dropped my hand on Makina's head with a thump. Where would the kid be storing all that in this tiny body?
私もそう思うけど実際食べるんだもの。ご飯食べた直後だってのにお腹空いたって言い出したりしてさ。
まあそんな日もあるさ。
ねえよ。
Strange, maybe she works like a mole or a rhino, inefficient at absorbing energy from her food, so she has to keep stuffing herself or she'll starve to death. For a second, I thought I saw a shadow fall across Amane's face, but she and Makina quickly get to work. They drag nearby desks and chairs up to mine, creating one large island. Amane pushes one of the stacked lunchboxes at me. Inside, there's deep-fried tofu covered with red bean paste, accented with thinly sliced boiled daikon radish. Whoa, that sounds really good. Not to mention broccoli with sesame sauce, fried burdock root, Kyoto-style grilled mackerel, and chicken meatloaf. Together, they make an amazingly well-balanced and elaborate meal. Holding back at this point would be downright rude. I thank her for the food and extend my chopsticks to the sliced daikon radish. Amane's cooking is somewhat light on the seasoning. I noticed as much before when I had dinner in her room, but to my tongue used to preservatives and artificial coloring, her food seems extremely gentle. Probably because I haven't eaten real home cooking in a long time. It tastes even better than I'd expected. Delicious. Amane, you really are an excellent cook.
だから何度も言ってるのよさ。アマネは上手だよ。
まあ料理屋の娘だしね。っていうかさ、この前だって私の手料理食べたじゃん。
Yeah, true. The dinner in her room was a simple stew, and the main ingredients were just some off-the-shelf fish products, so there weren't any real surprises. But this meal has the vaguely nostalgic essence of home cooking. The taste calls up faded memories of the meals my mother served me. Honestly, it's a bit of an emotional jolt.
うちの母親がね、アホでもおへちゃでもかましまへんけど、料理だけは覚えとかなあきまへんえってさ。子供の頃から料理はよく教わってたのよね。
お兄ちゃん、私が食べさせてあげよう。卵がいい？はい。
No, I'll feed myself, thanks. Even eating with others like this is a concession on my part. This is going way past ticklish and into seriously awkward territory. Makina thrusts the omelet toward my nose with a clumsy grip on her chopsticks. I instinctively pull back and turn a frank scowl in Amane's direction. Hey, Amane. Do something about this girl, or so my glance was intended to convey. But instead, Amane bites her roller lip lightly, and an irrepressible smile spreads across her face. Grabbing a Kimpira burdock root with her chopsticks, she presses it toward my face, which I turned away from Makina's attack. Brutus! Et tu?
こんなに可愛い女の子が両手に花状態であーんだよ。王様待遇じゃん。
そうなのよ。そろそろ空気読め。
That's my line. Caught between a rock and a hard place. Theoretically, I should gain distance and suppress each target individually. Step 1, I need a chance to take evasive action. Oh, man. That's good. Okay, I'm gonna end there right now. That was a little long, but yeah, a lot of stuff happened. We're really getting to know both of these two girls. It's a little fun. I'm enjoying it. Actually, they're they're being really nice. Bye. Okay.